who should back up Trey Lance, Sybilla?
So I think because of the Anthony Lynn connection, it's Tyrod Taylor. So get straight to the point there. The reason for this is I think Tyrod Taylor, remember at the Combine when he was coming into the league, do you remember who his roommate was?
No.
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, wow.
So we got these dual threat running quarterbacks. And obviously Kaepernick was the racehorse of his day. And that sort of thing. Trey Lance hopefully will be the more beastly version of him, which is hard to do because Kaepernick is quite a specimen athletically. But I think that the skill set of Tyrod Taylor is like, really hate to say this, but it's more like at this point in his career, a poor man's version of, it's the Mustang to the Ferrari. It's the poor man's version of Trey Lance.
Well, if I remember correctly, in Harbaugh's final game at Stanford when he was coaching Andrew Luck, they won the Orange Bowl and they beat Virginia Tech, and the quarterback was Tyrod Taylor, who basically single-handedly kept Virginia Tech competitive in that game.
I remember that, yes.
And if I remember correctly, Jim told his brother, hey, if you're looking for a backup, this guy's really good. And Tyrod Taylor was a backup in Baltimore for a long time. A lot of people felt he was better than Joe Flacco for a lot of that time.
He absolutely was. Yeah. I mean, they lucked out with the Lamar Jackson thing, but Tyrod Taylor was in the direction, if you will, of that sort of system. So again, like I said a couple of weeks ago or last week, we need a quarterback that's plug and play. We don't need a pocket passer backing up a mobile quarterback because it changes the system. And I think for as far as like the receivers go, we just need to keep them with a quarterback that somewhat resembles what they have. Again, I think Tyrod Taylor buys into our system. I think he buys into the franchise. It's going to keep him in California, and it's going to keep him with Anthony Lynn. And I just think that connection there makes it very, very logical. I think Anthony Lynn can go out and get us Tyrod Taylor, and I think there's worse situations to be in. I definitely don't want like, any of these other backups that are out there coming into our system. This is really the only one I think I would be comfortable with.
And I think
Trubisky is out there. We don't want him.
Speak for yourself on that one. I like Mitch Trubisky. I like Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to be the guy they get. He has the clear connection.
Right, so if you had your way, would you go with Trubisky?
Yeah, I like Trubisky. I think because here, let me lay it out. I like Tyrod Taylor, but he's been hurt a lot. And I think the Niners need to take that seriously because when they bring in veterans with injury histories, at least for their team, it doesn't work out. I don't know what it is, but if it's the water, if it's the training staff, if it's something, if it's just bad luck, but they have a bad history with those kind of guys. So I think he's probably going to be who they get, and he probably won't even play that much. But they might want to consider someone who's a little younger, a little more durable.
Because he fits the style of quarterback Kyle Shanahan is more commonly affiliated.
That's great. And I think that's why they'll get him. But I think at the same time, that might be a little overrated. Like, you just need a guy who can win two out of 3 games while Trey's hurt. Like, for example, the Cardinals, they have Kyler Murray. Their backup had nothing in common with Kyler Murray, Colt McCoy. But he won a few games for him. That's all you care about. And, like, the offense changed when he was there.
2-1, right?
Yeah. And he beat the Niners and the Seahawks, like 2 division games. So, like, the Niners, what you could do is you could get Colt McCoy, and he could just run the Jimmy offense if it were to come to that. I'm just saying.
Now that's the point I have to admit I did not consider is that you don't need to run at full speed to win. We've proven that.
Yeah.
So we can have a game manager offense and still win, in which case, I could say it's Mitchell Trubisky. People like Teddy Bridgewater are off the table because he wants to start. So I think it comes down to the 2 of them.
I think the Niners have a lot of good options. I think I think they can get.
Oh, definitely.
They can get a guy who started games and won and has a similar skill set to Trey. Failing that, they can get a guy who started games and won, but is a little bit different. Failing that, they could probably draft a guy who's really gifted. I mean, I think there's a lot of good options. But I think it's going to be Tyrod.
Trubisky is he would be particularly inspired to take a team-friendly contract. So because here's a guy who really should have had a career. And now he's looking at the drain pipe. He really is. He's this close to being in the dregs of the NFL, but he could come to
his biggest sins are being worse than Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and playing for the Bears. If you put him as a backup on the Niners, I think he'd be pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that it would give people a chance to look, maybe to revive his career, saying that he was working with the quarterback whisperer, basically.
Right.
So I could see that, and maybe he beats Tyrod Taylor on the contractual side of things, because don't you think Anthony Lynn gives Tyrod the votes?
I think it's going to be Tyrod. I think bringing in Anthony, it's going to be someone that they have a connection to, I think. And that's most likely, I mean, they brought in Scangarello. He immediately brought in his guy, Sudfeld, Rosen never had a chance. Not that he was good or anything. Sorry, Rosen. But I just feel like it's kind of that kind of a league. The Niners bring in people they know because they want people who love the game and all that stuff. So Tyrod's probably going to be the guy. Just hope.
The thing about Mitchell,
because when he's healthy, he's good.
A mid-round draft pick or something to get something back for him and trade him like next year.